What's up guys, this is Heaton. Today I'm going to be showing you the best build that you could possibly make for Season 25 on console. So everybody's been talking about the Monk recently, and about how good the Monk is for Season 25. But the Twister works differently on console, so actually the Twister Wizard is better than the Monk. So if you want to really excel Season 25 on console, this is what you want to play. You want to play the Legacy of Dreams Wizard. So you want to make sure that you have the Legacy of Dreams gem at level 99 in order to make this build work. So let's go ahead and go through all the skills. So you have Magic Weapon Deflection. You want to cast this right when you enter the battle. And then right when you enter, you're going to teleport until you find a good group. Whenever you find a good group, you're going to cast Diamond Skin and Frost Nova at the same time. Once you get those buffs up, you're going to Energy Twister Gale Force, and you're going to channel Arcane Torrent Flame Ward at the same time. See, console's a lot different than PC. You're able to cast way more skills at the same time. So essentially, you're going to always have this buff up whenever you start the battle. You're going to teleport into the group. You're going to cast one Twister in order to group them up. And then you're going to cast Diamond Skin, Frost Nova, and then just channel like crazy and cast Energy Twister at the same time. You're just going to blow everything up. So you want to get on Dariel's Visage. Fire skill damage is imperative. You also want to get attack speed and Energy Twister damage on that. You don't need any critical hit chance for this build, because we're going to be taking the Remnant of Pain, and that's going to let you get an automatical crit whenever you stun something. So you don't need to take critical hit chance on anything. So you're going to take fire skill damage, attack speed, energy twister damage. And then for the Achille Kira, you want to take intelligence, vitality, armor. Secondaries don't matter too much. You can take melee attack if you're able to, but if not, it doesn't matter. For the Witching Hour, you want intelligence, vitality, attack, speed, critical hit damage. And the secondaries they're just secondary. You don't have to get them, but this is the best secondary setup that you can have. So anytime I show you any of these gear pieces, always prioritize the primary skills. But if you can, go ahead and get the secondaries if you have it perfect. So Witching Hour, you got intelligence, vitality, attack speed, critical hit damage with physical resistance and gold pickup 2 yards as a secondary. You want the Blackthorn's Jousting Mail. This is like the Swampland Waiters, but for the wizard. So you're able to get a free skill on that. So you can get a free 20% fire damage in addition to the intelligence, vitality, armor. And of course, you want topazes. If at any point in time you feel too squishy, you can go ahead and put armors in the chest piece and the pants. So I guess that would be rubies. But if you don't need the rubies, then just by all means go topazes all the way down. Topazes all the way down. Ice climbers. Intelligence, vitality, armor, energy twister damage. This is the most important stat that you can have, energy twister. So take energy twister and then make sure you get everything else secondary. Okay, you have Mantle of Channeling. For this one, the skills that you have are kind of up in the air. If you have a perfect build, you don't really need the survivability as much. So you can take area damage and cooldown and resource cost reduction. But the only the only primaries that are actually relevant are the intelligence and the area damage. So if you're not able to get the cooldown or the reduced resource cost reduction, that's fine. But this is like a perfect setup for the Mantle of Channeling. Then you have the Stone Gauntlets. You want crit, you want, no, actually you don't want crit, because you don't need any critical hit chance. Because every time you stun, you get an instant 100% critical hit chance. So you actually don't even need to get the critical hit chance at all. So every gear piece that you have, you need no critical hit chance. So you have attack speed, critical hit damage, area damage, and reduced resource cost. You go to the Ashnagar's Blood Bracers. Same thing here. Fire skill always. Take the intelligence, vitality, and normally here you would take the critical hit chance, but you don't need that because you're able to get a 100% permanent critical hit chance whenever you stun. And you're going to be stunning every time you teleport into a pack. So you don't need critical hit chance here. Fire skill, intelligence, vitality, armor. So for the weapon, you want damage always. Always want 10% increased damage. You want the attack speed. You want the elite damage 8%. The elite damage 8% is actually pretty hard to get. So if you're not able to get that, I would go ahead and get cooldown or area damage, or it really doesn't matter what you get. As long as you get the 10% damage and the 7% attack speed, anything you get for a secondary is good enough. The most important thing is that you have the most perfect weapon that you can. So this is what you're going to want to reforge. Whenever you do bounties, you're going to want to reforge this twisted sword as many times as you can until you get a primal. Because to get a 1560 to 1940 damage on the twisted sword is so powerful, even if all the rest of the stats are complete shit. So, I mean, this is like the perfect, ideal twisted sword that you can get, but it's very hard to get. So as long as you get a primal, if you're able to get a primal, that's great. Then just get the 10% damage, the 7% attack speed, and then anything else for the third stat is completely fine. So we move to the etch sigil. You have 1000% intelligence. You get the 8% elite damage, you get the 20% area damage, and the 15% energy twister damage. So normally you would exchange the 1000 intelligence for the critical hit chance, but for this build, you have a guaranteed crit because you freeze. You have the Frost Nova. So anytime you freeze with the Frost Nova, you immediately get 100% critical hit chance because the Remnant of Pain, anytime that you hit an enemy with the strong crowd control, you get a 100% critical hit chance. So basically, the fact that you have this gem, the fact that you're able to get a 100% critical hit chance, that outweighs everything. You don't need critical hit chance on anything. All you need to do is teleport into a pack, stun them, and you get an immediate 100% critical hit chance. So you see no critical hit chance on the bracers. You see nothing. You don't even have any critical hit chance on the etch sigil. So this is what you want. The most important thing to have is the energy twister damage and the area damage and the elite damage. The 1000 intelligence is just extra because otherwise you would have the critical hit chance, but you don't need that. So yeah. So we're going to go to the Squirt's Necklace. So the perfect Squirt's Necklace would typically be fire, crit. But like I said, you don't need the critical hit chance. You automatically freeze. So that lets you get fire skill damage for 20%, critical hit damage 100%, and then look, you get that 105 to 210 damage for free. That's a free stat because you automatically crit. So you don't need critical hit chance on the Squirt Necklace. But you do need the Legacy of Dreams, of course. That's the most important gem. Convention of Elements. I wish that you could get critical hit damage, flat damage, and then maybe area. But for some reason, you have to take either the intelligence or the critical hit chance. But like we said, critical hit chances means nothing with this build. You instantly stun, you instantly get 100% critical, so that's completely useless. So you might as well just throw on an extra main stat. So you have critical hit damage, intelligence, 105 to 210 damage. This is the best possible convention of elements you can get with this build. You obviously want the reduce duration of control impairing effects. Reduces duration of control impairing effects by 40%. Yeah, that's pretty useful. So you can get that as a secondary. But that's not really needed. You definitely need a socket, and you need the Bane of the Trapped. This season, nobody needs Stricken. This season, every build is way too strong than they need to be, and this is the strongest build. So you by no means need Bane of the Stricken. So take Bane of the Trapped, level 150. Try to level it up as much as you can. Then we're gonna go to Stone of Jordan. Normally, when it comes to this build, you would use the shield. So you'd use like a storm shield or something to get the 80% reduction. But you don't need that because you have the Sliver of Terror. So you get an insane amount of damage reduction for every skill that you have on cooldown. So why would you put the Storm Shield in there? It's not a cooldown skill. I don't care if it's 80%. You don't need it. You do not need Storm Shield for the season. That's why you take Frost Nova. If it wasn't for the season, I wouldn't even use Frost Nova. I would just use Storm Shield. So that's what you use. So you got Convention of Elements. So you don't use the Halo of Karini. That's the whole thing. With the Halo of Karini, you have to take a shield whenever you use the Stone of Jordan. But the Storm Shield doesn't use cooldown. That means you don't get any benefit from the Sliver of Terror. That's the most beneficial buff that you can get for the whole season. So you do not want to use the shield because it's not a cooldown skill. Even if it's 80%, you don't want to use it. So now you have the Stone of Jordan because you don't put the Halo of Karini in. Get fire skill damage, critical hit damage, elite damage. You don't take the critical hit chance because you don't need it. It's 100%. All you do is teleport into a pact. You cast this skill, Frost Nova. You immediately freeze, and you get 100% critical hit chance. So you don't need critical hit chance on anything at all. So you take the Stone of Jordan, 20% fire skill damage, 50% critical hit damage, 30% elite damage. This is the perfect fucking ring that you can use. Okay, so you got Twisted Sword set up. All right. Magic Weapon Deflection, Energy Twister Gale Force, Diamond Skin Prism, Frost Nova Bone Chill, Teleport Safe Passage, and Arcane Torrent Flame Ward. I did make a reverse Archon version of this build, but every build is so overpowered for season 25, so I don't think you even need the reverse Archon. This is literally the strongest build that you can possibly make for season 25. Straight up. This can take you through speeds, through GR 150s, anything. Just make sure you have all these skills right here. Magic Weapon Deflection, Energy Twister, Gale Force, Diamond Skin Prism, Frost Nova Bone Chill, Teleport Safe Passage, Arcane Torrent Flame Ward. And then, of course, you have Audacity, because you're going to be teleporting in the middle of groups. So you're going to want to kill at a close range. So you need Audacity. Then you have Galvanizing Ward. This is good for any build. This is the best shield you can possibly get. As long as you haven't taken damage, you gain a protective shield. So this is the best shield that you can have for your Squirt's Necklace. Because of course you're going to use Squirt's Necklace. What else is there to use? What are you going to use, a fucking Hellfire Amulet? And then you have Unwavering Will. Stand still for 1.5 seconds and you get an insane armor buff, resist buff, and damage buff. And then you want Dominance. Every time you kill an enemy, you get a shield. This is what's going to keep your Squirt's buff up. So you have Dominance, you have Unwavering Will, you have Galvanizing Ward, you have Magic Weapon Deflection, and you have Ashnagar's Blood Bracer. So you have permanent shields. There is no way you can take any damage. Of course, you want Valttex Rebuke. There is no need for Death Wish in this build. No need for Death Wish. It's too weak. You got Twisted Sword. You got Valttex Rebuke. You have to use Ransler's Folly. This is way too strong. You get 300% increased damage to Energy Twister, and you pull in enemies within 30 yards. That's why you cast the Twister before you stun with the Frost Nova. So you cast Magic Weapon at the beginning of the battle, you teleport into a group, you cast one Energy Twister just to group them up real quick. And then immediately, once you group them up, Diamond Skin, Frost Nova, boom, you cast them both at the same time. You stun the fuck out of them. Then they have a 100% critical hit chance. So you start channeling and cast your Energy Twister at the same time. It works a lot differently on console compared to PC. You're able to channel with the Energy Twister while you're casting the Arcane Torrent. You have Valttex Rebuke, Rancher's Folly, Obsidian Ring of the Zodiac. There's really no other ring to use. If you think about it. These two skills don't last very long. So you're just trying to channel as much as you can. You're just trying to keep these skills up. I have a reverse Archon version, which is much stronger than this one. I think the reverse Archon is the strongest build of Season 25, but a lot of people don't like playing it because you have to wait a full 20 seconds while you're in Archon form in order to attack. So you have to group everything up for 20 seconds, and then you have a little brief window in order to attack. But then once you're done attacking, then you have to go back into Archon again. So no, I don't think you need that as much. If you're trying to set a record for 150, then I guess I'll post it, but this is as good as you'll need. You want to make sure you have 50 in movement speed, 50 in maximum arcane power. Just dump everything in intelligence. If you're dying, then you can go like this.